This is an explanation of the roof heat recovery system's general operation. What we have here is a cutaway of a general building and showing the interior framing of the building and how the system is installed. Basically, the system comprises of ductwork that conveys the airflow throughout the building, panels which are located up in the roof to circulate the heat into the attic below the roof sheathing where the heat's picked up. So basically, there are panels within the attic. These panels are connected to the underside of the roof sheathing where your shingles are. And the sun's shining, it builds up a lot of heat on this area, which is conducted through the roofing material. And there's baffles that sit in these panels. Typically, there's a panel in every second roof truss space, so that doesn't affect the natural ventilation of the attic. And the system goes from the very bottom of the roof right up to the peak. And there are heat recovery panel baffles that go in here, and they actually touch the underside of the roof sheathing. So when the sun's shining, the roof gets hot, the heat's conveyed through, and the heat exchangers recover that heat and put it into the airflow. So in heating mode, basically the system turns on and calls for heat when you need heat inside the space. The air is drawn up through an intake within the building, and that air travels through a manifold and ductwork in your attic and is delivered to each panel system. And that air travels up and picks up the heat through the baffles in the panel. And then the air goes back into the system through a ductwork manifold system. And it comes down and it's delivered back into the space. This can be on its own standalone fan if there's no furnace system, or if you have a furnace system, this warm supply air can be introduced into the return of the furnace. And the fan control box has an interlock for the furnace. So you can use your existing heating system distribution system to circulate that heat throughout the house. So that's the first mode of operation that captures heat in the shoulder seasons or in heating season when the sun's shining and there's heat available, and we can use that heat to heat the building. The second mode of operation would be more in the summertime. So basically that's when the roof gets really hot and we don't really need the heat. And the general idea of an attic is to ventilate the attic and get rid of that heat, so we keep the dwelling at a nice temperature inside. So when the sun gets really hot, the roof surface gets really warm, the system kicks on automatically, and it actually draws heat from the attic, circulates that warm air through the panels. It gets even warmer as it cools the roof surface, and then that heat comes out the baffle, and then it actually is diverted and rejected to outside where it's unobjectionable. And in the process of doing that, basically what happens is that it's going to keep your roof surface cooler in the summer, which is going to protect your shingles. Everybody's seen shingles on a west or south facing slope where they're all curled and on their way out, and then on the north side the shingles are looking like they're somewhat new. So a lot of that degradation comes from overheating. So this system prolongs the shingle life or your roofing material life by preventing overheating. And then it also, by doing so, it keeps the attic space cooler, which is good. And when the attic's cool, the heat gain into the space is reduced. So that also has an offset to reduce your air conditioning loads in the summer months as well. So it has a multi-beneficial outcome when it's in operation.